he was wrong. He thought that he would be able to influence the court. He certainly tries to do that. The fact, though, is that in this circumstance with the 2020 election, there just wasn't a case to be made. The election wasn't close. It wasn't close in these states. There were no credible allegations of fraud. And so really, this lawsuit and many of the others are simply frivolous. And the Supreme Court has absolutely no reason to insert itself into the 2020 election when its result is so clear.
David, when President Trump says, as he did today, we will have to see who the next administration is, you know, obviously, look, people who deal with facts and basic arithmetic have known for weeks who the next administration is going to be. The Supreme Court knows that as well. We're not in the president's head, thankfully. I assume a lot of this is just for him to continue fundraising and raking in as much money that he can use for his personal benefit down the road as he sees fit.
Yeah, you'd say people who deal with facts, that lets the president out. He's not one of those people. He develops his own alternative set of facts. That was the line we heard in the first days of his administration, and it's been true throughout. Look, I think there is madness to his method in that I don't think that he can tolerate being a loser. That's the worst thing in his parlance. There's also a method to his madness. He's raised almost $250 million, I should say, that is going to serve as his kind of political slush fund when he leaves the White House. He sets himself up now as the avenger. This was stolen, and it was interesting the language that he used down in Georgia this weekend. They stole this from us, from you. They stole this from you. That is going to be the platform on which he is going to launch whatever he does next, and he'll probably intimate that he'll run for president again in 2024. And that does two things for him, Anderson. One is it keeps him in the game, makes him relevant. Secondly, if he should be indicted in New York, which is a real possibility, he will depict it as a political prosecution to try and keep us from taking the White House back. And the third thing was mentioned to me the other day by a financier in New York, a savvy guy, who said, you know, he has $425 million in debt. He can't get a conventional loan from a regular lending institution. But if he is still active and he's still talking about running for president again, pretty good investment, whether it's Russia or Turkey or any other country, to make sure that he gets the money that he needs. So I think part of it is that he cannot tolerate being a loser. Part of it is he is making a bet here on a plot that will rally people around him and advantage him in other ways.
That's part, Anderson, is really so key because, and you were talking about this with Chris Krebs, who is really remarkable at how articulate he is in what he saw internally and what he sees now. The money part of this, I mean, I'm not sure if you all are on the Trump campaign's fundraising email list, but it's ping, 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 ping all day long on your text, on your email, and they are just desperate for money, and the money isn't all going, almost at 25% of it at this point is only going to the legal fund. 75% is going to the PAC that the president created for his future political runs and all of their political endeavors. And for all the reasons that David just cited, that is the most important thing for the president right now, is to keep his political viability going. And that includes and especially underscores the idea that this is a money-raising effort, that what he's doing from the Oval Office, democracy be damned.
And that's a PAC. That money is money he can kind of use however he really wants.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. He can for the future.
Carrie, the Electoral College meets officially next week. What state or federal judge, regardless of who appointed him or her, is going to wade into this at this point and legitimize, the president's baseless and fraudulent claims? What lawyer or advisor worth their salt would tell the president that he still has a chance besides Rudy Giuliani?
Well, look, he's got his team of lawyers who are willing to go to court and put their name to lies. And lawyers that I wouldn't want to work with, but he seems to have found people who are willing to do that. The fact of the matter is that there simply were not credible allegations of fraud. And what the president's doing and what the lawyers who are enabling him in doing this and his political allies who are supporting this charade, which is really what it is in terms of alleging fraud, they're really harming the country because there are some people who actually believe this. And that's why, if I can just comment for a minute on your interview with Chris Krebs, the work that Chris Krebs did as the director of CISA and what his team did before the election, so the years that they put in securing the election and working with state and local partners to make sure that the cybersecurity of the election really was in much better shape than it was in 2016 was really important. But what they did after the election, by batting down the rumors, including the rumors coming from the president himself, I think saved the country an enormous amount because they had the credibility to be able to say that the allegations he was making were false. And that was an incredible service that they did.
Carrie Cordero, David Ash.